was just give you a quick sort of 5 minutes on where the Olympic project is at the moment. Simply because this is going to be one of those extraordinary national events, and I thought it might be of interest. It's not particularly relevant to what you're talking about this morning, but I thought in terms of the bigger picture, you would all like to know where it is and what's going on. And then I'll throw the floor over to you afterwards. I'll just spend 5 minutes doing that. And please ask me any questions at all you want, either about the project nationally, or its implications for us here in Kent, or how it affects you as volunteers. The Olympic project is one of the biggest things that a country can embark upon. We had the challenge we set ourselves when we won in 2005 was to build 2 Terminal 5s in half the time, and to mount the largest logistical operation that a country has to undertake outside a world war. By the beginning of August next year, we will probably have welcomed somewhere between 120 and 150 heads of state to London simultaneously. We will have processed through the system around about 5 million visitors to London, and we will have staged 26 simultaneous World Championships. And you think of the amount of fuss and bother it normally takes to lay 1 on, to lay 26 on at the same time is a remarkable achievement, if we make it. So where are we now? Most of you will remember this particular story started off in a sweaty room in Singapore in 2005 when we won the right to host the Games. Since then, we won the right on the basis that we were going to stage them in and around Stratford. I don't know if there's anybody here who's actually been to the site in Stratford. But it was, well, I remember going down there on a dusty afternoon in 2005. It was the largest piece of industrial wasteland anywhere inside the M25. It had contaminated land of all sorts, including some with radiation. Things like Japanese knotweed, concrete crushing plants, piles of old unused fridges and the rest. It has now been transformed into what will become in post-Games mode the largest urban park anywhere in Europe. Over the entrance to it at Stratford has been built the largest new shopping centre anywhere in Western Europe. The Westfield Shopping Corporation, Westfield firm, have invested £1.5 billion in building this new shopping centre. It is bigger than the mirror image in White City, and in its first 7 days of trading, 1 million people passed over the entrance. So it's a remarkable achievement. The Olympic Park itself has on it what we call the Big Five. The new main stadium, built at a cost of £500 million, subject to a dispute between Tottenham Hotspur and West Ham for football fans, and a lot of irritation for me all this week. You've got the Aquatic Centre next door, designed by Zaha Hadid, the award-winning Iranian architect. It's a fantastic structure. That's cost around about £250 million to build. A new velodrome that has just won an architectural award as the best new sporting venue built anywhere in the world. The Broadcast Media Centre, which will house about 20,000 journalists, both print and broadcast, during the Games, and the Athletes Village, where 17,000 athletes and their various coaches and training staff live in Games time, now sold to Delancey, a British development firm, in post-Games mode. All of that, amazingly enough, and all the other smaller venues, the handball, the basketball, and so on and so forth, the new hockey pitches, the BMX track, all of that has been built inside the park, amazingly, ahead of time, and remarkably for the British, under budget. So actually, all those venues are now open and handed over. We opened the track during the International Athletics Federation's visit last week. Alberto Wantarina, for those of you that remember him, took the first trip down the 100-metre straights, and was gold medalist, I think, in the early 80s, wasn't it? It's a 400-metre runner. So the park itself, the build, is in remarkably good shape. On top of that, I said, remember, 2 Terminal 5s in half the time, so this is a building challenge, which we have now met. We've now just got to mount the largest logistical operation that this country undertakes outside a major war. We have the level of enthusiasm for undertaking this task, and this is relevant to what you're talking about today, is quite remarkable. We went out to the market for 70,000 volunteers to help us run the project, and got over 250,000 applications back in. As many of you know, the tickets, when they went on sale, and they were by no means cheap, were in many cases 30 times oversubscribed. We had 6 million tickets to shift and got in total 23 million applications. It is a level of ticketing demand that the IOC have never ever seen in the history of the Games. And it's one of those rather bizarre things. Looked at from here, I mean, there's a stage in the summer where I couldn't appear on a radio station without getting harangued by people who've not got their tickets. You then go abroad and talk to the IOC and pat you on the back and say, remarkable operation, fantastic success. Nobody else has ever achieved this before. There are a series, we're just in the process at the moment of planning and announcing the torch relay. You'll be delighted to know that we secured Maidstone as one of the overnight stops, so the torch is coming here in July of next year. And we now have, we're in the process of trying to finalise all the security numbers. It's likely to require a security guard force of about 23,000 people to keep this event secure. So there is an enormous logistical challenge, but so far, dare I say it, so good, and actually the budget for that is holding as well. So let me just finish by saying a few words about what all this might mean afterwards. The most difficult monkey on the back of any games is the legacy, and it is difficult because it means so many different things to so many different people. And I've had wonderful presentations on people who have legacy plans on everything to do with getting more young people playing sport, to people who see this as a fantastic opportunity for the British gardening industry to put its wares on display across the world. So it is quite a difficult thing to capture because it means so much to so many different people. But if you look at this in terms of economic, sporting and social, the arguments are pretty compelling. In economic terms, the investment, the upfront investment of 9.3 billion, which is what it costs to build and lay on the Games, has produced in its wake around about 35,000 jobs directly, and has almost single-handedly restored the reputation of the British construction industry for being able to deliver big, complicated projects on time and to budget. And if you look at the sort of contracts that British firms are now winning abroad on the basis of this, it has wholly changed the situation from what we faced back in 2005-2006. The £500 million upgrade to the transport infrastructure that it brings in its wake to Stratford will transform that part of London forever. And any of you who've been there to have a look at it will know exactly what I mean. I was at the opening of the new Westfield Shopping Centre, and I mean, it was as you might expect, jam-packed with people trying to catch those first-day bargains. The largest crowd of all was 10 to 12 deep outside the window that looks over the Olympic Park. People just wanted to go and have a look at this remarkable feat of British construction. In sports terms, it will, no doubt, no doubt about it, will transform British sport for a generation. The fact that we've built so many new facilities is drawing in an enormous number of international competitions in its wake. In no particular order, we've got a Rugby League World Cup in 2013, Commonwealth Games in 2014, Rugby World Cup in 2015, we're just bidding for the World Athletics Championships in 2017, we've got the Cricket World Cup coming in 2019, Canoeing Championships in 2015, European Equitation Championships in 2011, 2013, Sailing Championships in 2011, and the World Gymnastics Competition in 2015. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because we now have the new state-of-the-art facilities, and you talk to people who've been down the whitewater course at Broxbourne, and they say it is the best course in the world. Talk to Chris Hoy, he says the new velodrome is the fastest track anywhere on the globe. These are fantastic state-of-the-art facilities. And of course, all those events bring a huge economic boost to the hosting city in their wake. So it will undoubtedly transform British sport. The interesting thing, actually, is the bit that you're concerned with. It is the third of those, which is the social legacy of all of this. We're in the process of working through a series of plans to see how we can best mobilise the many, many people, 250,000 people who volunteered to help us at London 2012, but necessarily with 250,000 applications and only 70,000 slots, there are going to be some disappointed people. And actually, managing disappointment has turned out to be quite a recurrent theme of this process, whether it's people trying to buy tickets and not getting them, or volunteers, or people who just want to get involved in it because it's a great national event and won't be able to. And how we do that and keep all those people involved and feeling the owner part of it is going to be one of the great challenges. So I think I'll stop there. Let me just sum that up. This is going to be one of those great national moments. There is no doubt about it. People, in the same way people write to me endlessly now saying, I did X, Y and Z in 1948 when they were last here. People will remember what they were doing in 2012. Remember too that in the county of Kent we are uniquely placed to make the most of this opportunity. You can drive to Ebbsfleet, you can be at Stratford in 7 minutes from Ebbsfleet, and we're extraordinarily close to this remarkable, this remarkable sporting event. And just pause for a little bit and just remember that actually it's going to be great to run the fantastic games. I have no doubt we will. We're going to have a fantastic event in 9 months' time. But actually, that in itself is not quite enough. It's got to mean a bit more to us as a nation if we're really going to justify it. And that's where the legacy comes in. Some of that we can do in government, but actually an awful lot of that will require people on the ground to get enthused by it, to get swept up in the enthusiasm of it. And I think we'll start to see that happening when the torch arrives in May next year and starts passing through all the communities up and down the country. It will also require a huge effort sort of from the bottom up to make the most of, as I say, what I think